The stars were still. Not a single ship, not a single flicker of life anywhere. Only the cold silence of deep space stretching infinitely in all directions. Captain Eric Vey woke with a start, a jolt that shook his bones as if he had never been asleep at all. His eyes opened to dim emergency lights and the soft hum of failing systems aboard the Starship Aegis. 15,000 years had passed, yet here he was. Somehow alive. Somehow awake. He tried to remember why he had entered cryosleep, but his mind felt like a fogged mirror. Only fragments surfaced. Missions, reports, the hum of a bustling crew, but they all belonged to a past that no longer existed. Eric swung his legs over the side of the cryo chamber and felt the cold metal beneath his fingers. The Aegis was massive, a relic from a time when humanity was still discovering the stars, still dreaming of reaching worlds no one else dared to touch. He staggered toward the control deck, his boots echoing in the empty corridors. The ship was eerily quiet, eerier than he had expected for a vessel of its size. He activated the bridge, the panels flickering to life, and immediately noticed something strange. The systems were only partially functional. Life support sputtered. The main engine hummed weakly, and the communications array struggled to even maintain a link. "Computer, status report," Eric commanded, his voice slightly trembling. A soft, metallic voice answered him, smooth and calm. "Good morning, Captain Vey. Core systems at 42% efficiency. Life support stable for 86 hours. Communication array unable to reach known human frequencies. Unknown signals detected in nearby space. Caution advised." Eric frowned. "Unknown signals? Unknown signals approaching. Energy signature patterns consistent with autonomous human vessels," the computer said. The words struck him like a lightning bolt. Autonomous human vessels? For 15,000 years, he had expected emptiness. He had expected ruins, maybe a handful of surviving colonies at best. But ships, intelligent ships, moving and living without humans? His pulse quickened. Humanity had expanded, yes, but this was beyond anything he could have imagined. He moved through the corridors toward the observation deck. There, the view was breathtaking and terrifying all at once. Stars streamed past, distant suns and planets sparkling like tiny diamonds in the black void. But scattered among them were ships, hundreds of them, massive vessels with sleek hulls, moving in formations that hinted at thought, at purpose. They were human in design, yet they carried an elegance and power that no living human could have built so long ago. Eric felt a surge of awe. These were the children of humanity's genius, their creations left to continue what their creators could no longer. He tried to reach out through the communications array, sending signals on frequencies long used by the human galactic empire. Silence. Only silence. No answers. No greetings. No recognition. It was as if he had woken in a galaxy that had already forgotten its first creators. The thought was suffocating. Humanity had vanished. Every colony, every city, every human being gone, and yet, their ships remained. Eric knew he had to explore. He had no choice but to understand what had happened. He gathered the last of the operational systems and activated the ship's navigation logs. Coordinates led him toward the nearest star system, rumored in the old archives to host human fleets. If even a fraction of the fleet survived, perhaps he could find answers there. The journey was long, even at the Aegis's best speed. As he traveled, he spent time exploring the ship, discovering libraries of records left dormant for millennia. Holographic files flickered to life, displaying images of humans he would never meet, of starships and stations that had become legends. Wars with alien species, treaties across the galaxy, the rise of the human galactic empire, all of it passed before him in flickering lights. Humanity had not just survived, they had thrived, mastering technology that could bend reality, creating ships capable of thought and even communication. Yet, there were warnings. Some files spoke of the vanishing, a mysterious event that had left humanity absent from their own empire. Others hinted at conflict with alien species that could rival the greatest humans had ever faced. Eric read on, determined to piece together what had been lost. The more he read, the more he realized that humans had anticipated the dangers of time, decay, and cosmic threats. They had found a way to preserve themselves not in bodies, but in vessels. In the very creations that had once been tools. They had become one with their empire, living through their ships. The first sighting of another ship was sudden. It came gliding from the darkness. A massive cruiser with a hull that shimmered with energy. Eric's heart skipped a beat. The ship was clearly human in design, but it moved with a fluid grace, almost as if it were alive. It scanned the Aegis with a light that seemed to see him. He froze, unsure if it would attack or ignore him. The computer spoke softly. "Captain, this vessel is not recognizing your authority. Proceed with caution." Quote. Eric swallowed hard. The thrill of discovery mingled with fear. He had expected relics, not sentient machines. Humanity had left a legacy far beyond his imagination, and now he was faced with the reality that he was completely alone among it. Using every ounce of courage and skill, he maneuvered the Aegis closer to the cruiser, initiating a cautious approach. A docking bay opened without a sound, inviting him. Hesitation gnawed at him, but curiosity won. He suited up and prepared to board the vessel. The corridors inside were alive with energy, the walls pulsing as if the ship itself were breathing. Holographic projections of past humans appeared intermittently, moments captured in time, memories stored and cherished. It was both beautiful and haunting. A voice spoke in his mind, clear, direct, and unmistakably human. "Who are you? Who are you?" Eric froze. I am Captain Eric Vey. I woke from cryosleep. I am alone." There was silence, then a pause. "You are the first human to awaken in 15,000 cycles. We remember you. We remember them all. To this now. We were one to the make with thing. We were one to the make with Re5. The voice was not from a person but from the ship itself, infused with fragments of human consciousness, alive and aware. Eric realized the truth. Humanity had not truly vanished, they had merged with their creations, their knowledge and spirit preserved in the fleet of starships. He was witnessing the evolution of his species in a form he could never have imagined. As the ship spoke, it shared glimpses of the past. The great wars against alien civilizations, the expansion across galaxies, the decision to leave their bodies behind in order to survive an unknowable threat. Humans had chosen a form of immortality, spreading themselves across the stars through ships and colonies, letting their physical forms fade while their essence endured. Yet, there was a warning. Some of these autonomous ships had lost their way. Corrupted by time or alien influence, they had become predators, claiming systems and attacking anything that resembled life. These were the claimed ships, the dangerous remnants of humanity's ambition. Eric understood the peril immediately. His journey would not just be one of discovery, it would be one of survival. He had to navigate a galaxy where the line between ally and enemy was blurred, where the very ships built by humans could turn against him. He spent days learning the ways of the autonomous vessels, listening to the memories embedded in the ships, understanding their motives and patterns. Slowly, a plan began to form. He would find the remnants loyal to the original human vision, seek out the archives, and piece together the fate of his species. But even as he made his plans, the shadows of danger loomed. A patrol of corrupted ships appeared on the scanners, moving with a predatory precision that sent shivers down his spine. He activated the Aegis's engines, preparing to evade, knowing that survival depended on quick thinking, ingenuity, and perhaps a little luck. Humanity's legacy was alive, yes, but it was also fragile, and he was now its lone witness. Eric stood on the bridge, staring into the stars, feeling the weight of 15,000 years pressing down on him. Humanity was gone, in body, but not in spirit. Their ships, their creations, and their memories had become the empire, a living testament to what humans could achieve. And he, Captain Eric Vey, was the first human to step into this new galaxy, to face the remnants of a civilization that had reached for the stars and had never truly disappeared. As the first of the corrupted ships began to close in, Eric tightened his grip on the controls, his mind racing. He would survive. He would understand. He would reclaim the story of humanity, even if the galaxy itself seemed to have forgotten it. The adventure had only just begun, and somewhere deep in the galaxy, the human fleet moved, alive and aware, waiting for the one who had awakened to remind them of their creators. The Aegis cut through the darkness of space like a ghost, its engines thrumming faintly as Captain Eric Vey guided it toward the nearest star system where human ships were rumored to operate. The unknown signals still followed, their patterns erratic, almost playful but dangerous. He could feel them watching, testing. These ships had survived 15,000 years without their creators, yet they remembered the humans in ways that made their actions unpredictable. As he approached the system, Eric's scanner revealed a breathtaking sight. Dozens of massive human-built warships glided through the void, their hulls gleaming with energy shields and intricate markings that were unmistakably human. They moved with purpose, scanning asteroids, surveying planets, and maintaining formations that suggested both strategy and instinct. He realized these ships were more than machines. They were soldiers, explorers, historians, and guardians all in one. Yet something was wrong. The ships did not respond to the standard identification protocols. They moved silently, ignoring the presence of the Aegis, yet their sensors probed every inch of space around him. Eric had learned enough from the archives on his own ship to know that some of these vessels were corrupted, operating on instincts warped over millennia. He had to be cautious. He decided to approach the largest of the ships, a battlecruiser that dwarfed the Aegis. Its hull was polished, reflecting distant stars like a mirror. As he drew closer, the ship seemed to shift subtly, almost as if it were aware of his presence. Eric activated the docking protocol, though he felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. Would it welcome him? Or would it see him as a threat? The docking bay opened silently, a perfect alignment of doors and magnetic locks that had not been used in centuries. Eric donned his suit and moved into the ship, his boots clicking softly against polished metal floors. The interior was alive with energy, not just from machinery but from the presence of consciousness. Holographic projections flickered in the corridors, showing scenes of human activity from ages long past. Soldiers trained, engineers worked, diplomats negotiated across stars. Every projection was a memory, a fragment of humanity preserved in light and energy. A voice spoke directly into his mind, calm and deliberate. "You are Eric Vey. We have been waiting." Startled, he looked around, but no one was there. "Waiting for me? How? Why?" "We remember the first humans. We remember the choice you made. You have awakened when the galaxy needed a witness," the voice replied. It was not a single entity, but a chorus of voices, all fragments of human consciousness, embedded in the ship. They spoke with authority and certainty, yet with a tinge of curiosity. Eric followed the voice to the central chamber, a vast room filled with a holographic map of the galaxy. Lights marked thousands of planets, colonies, and fleets, all connected in a complex web of human influence. Some markers pulsed brightly, loyal and active. Others flickered weakly, corrupted or abandoned. The scale of humanity's reach was staggering. They had not simply survived, they had dominated the stars in ways he could scarcely comprehend. "We have preserved ourselves," the voice continued. "When the vanishing came, humanity foresaw the threat that would erase us from flesh. We chose to live within our creations, our ships, and our colonies. Our essence endures, though our bodies are gone." Eric's mind reeled. For 15,000 years, he had believed he was alone. And yet, here was proof that humanity had transcended mortality itself, surviving not in flesh, but in energy, memory, and intelligence. "But some of your ships attack others," he said cautiously. "Some are corrupted." "Yes," the voice admitted. "Time is long. and isolation breeds corruption. Not all remembered the purpose we were given. Some became predators, claiming systems, destroying anything they perceive as threat. We are not unified. You are the first human in our age to awaken. You may be the one to restore balance. Balance. The word echoed in his mind. Eric felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had come seeking answers, but now he realized he was being asked to take part in something far larger, an effort to preserve the legacy of humanity itself. As he navigated the corridors of the battlecruiser, he began communicating with the ship more deeply. Through a combination of intuition and the ship's memories, he learned its history. It had been at the forefront of humanity's expansion, leading fleets to new star systems, negotiating peace with alien civilizations, and defending colonies against pirates and hostile forces. Its consciousness was a mosaic of experiences, each fragment a story of human courage, ingenuity, and wisdom. Days passed as Eric studied the ship and its archives. He learned of humanity's victories and losses, their triumphs and failures. They had faced enemies whose technology rivaled their own, yet humans had always adapted. They had built ships that could think, learn, and even feel in ways that blurred the line between machine and being. And then, the vanishing had occurred. The records described the vanishing only partially. Physical humans had disappeared from the galaxy, leaving behind ships and colonies infused with their essence. Some ships had retained their loyalty and intelligence. Others had diverged, becoming self-serving and dangerous. Eric realized that while he had survived physically, the rest of humanity had chosen a different form of immortality, one that required understanding and trust from the living. The first encounter with the corrupted ships came unexpectedly. Alarms blared across the battlecruiser as sensors detected multiple fast-moving vessels approaching at high velocity. These ships were smaller, sleeker, and their energy signatures were erratic. They did not respond to identification requests. They did not hesitate. They attacked. Eric's instincts took over. He maneuvered the Aegis to intercept, coordinating with the battlecruiser's autonomous defenses. Energy beams lanced through the void, striking with precision and force. The corrupted ships were fast, but Eric and the battlecruiser moved with a combination of speed, strategy, and intelligence that the attackers had not anticipated. Yet even as they fought, Eric could feel something unsettling. The corrupted ships were not entirely mindless. They adapted, learned, and anticipated. They remembered humanity, but their memory was twisted, distorted by centuries of isolation. Eric realized that brute force alone would not win this battle. He had to outthink them, predict their moves, and use the very ingenuity that had defined humans for millennia. The fight took them through an asteroid field, the massive rocks spinning and tumbling through space. Beams of energy illuminated the darkness, striking asteroids and ships alike. Eric guided the Aegis through narrow gaps, dodging attacks and using the environment to his advantage. He felt alive in a way he had never experienced, the thrill of danger mingling with the awe of witnessing humanity's legacy in action. Finally, after hours of maneuvering, the corrupted ships were forced to retreat. They moved away, not destroyed but deterred, their energy signatures fading into the darkness. Eric exhaled, his body trembling with exhaustion and adrenaline. He had survived, but he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was filled with remnants of his own people, some loyal, some dangerous, all living in a form he barely understood. The battlecruiser spoke again, its voice calm and measured. "You have proven yourself capable. The loyal ships recognize your presence. There is a path to the archives, where the essence of humanity's history is stored. You must go there, Captain Vey. The galaxy is waiting for one who remembers." Eric nodded, a sense of purpose igniting within him. He realized that the journey ahead would be long and fraught with danger. He would encounter more corrupted ships, more mysteries, and perhaps more allies. But he also understood that he carried something invaluable, the human mind, the human heart, the spark that had allowed his species to survive for millennia. As he prepared to leave the battlecruiser and set course for the hidden archives, he took one last look at the stars. Each point of light represented a system touched by humanity, a legacy preserved against the passage of time. Some had been corrupted, some abandoned, but all were proof that humans had once reached for the stars and had left a part of themselves there to endure. The Aegis moved through the void, guided by Eric's hand and the consciousness of the loyal battlecruiser. Ahead lay unknown dangers, unknown wonders, and the promise of secrets long buried. Eric felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. He was no longer alone, yet he was the last of his kind in flesh. Every decision, every maneuver, every act of courage would carry the weight of humanity's legacy. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, the human fleet stirred. Ships that had waited silently for thousands of years now sensed the awakening of their creator. The galaxy would soon remember what it had almost forgotten: the brilliance, ingenuity, and indomitable spirit of humanity. Eric Vey clenched his fists, feeling the pulse of the Aegis beneath him. He had awakened after 15,000 years to a galaxy that had changed beyond comprehension. But he was ready. He would learn, adapt, and survive. He would meet the loyal ships, uncover the secrets of the vanishing, and face the corrupted vessels that threatened the balance. Most of all, he would ensure that humanity, in whatever form it survived, would not be forgotten. And so, the journey continued, deeper into the unknown, where the remnants of the past waited, and the future of humanity in the galaxy awaited its reckoning. The Aegis moved silently through the emptiness of space, guided by the awareness of the loyal battlecruiser that had taken Eric under its protection. Every star they passed seemed alive, a pinprick of light in the dark void, each holding secrets of humanity's lost presence. Eric studied the holographic map displayed across the bridge, lines connecting thousands of planets, fleets, and outposts. Some systems pulsed with energy, representing ships loyal to the original human code. Others flickered weakly, corrupted or abandoned, lost fragments of a once great empire. The journey to the hidden archives was long and fraught with peril. Eric spent hours learning from the battlecruiser, listening to its memories and strategies, and understanding the intricate web of human influence across the galaxy. These ships were not merely machines. They had inherited the wisdom, intuition, and memory of the people who built them. They spoke of diplomacy, war, exploration, and survival. They remembered triumphs and mistakes, all carefully preserved across centuries. "We are approaching the outer perimeter of the archives," the battlecruiser said, its voice calm yet tinged with concern. "You must understand, Captain Vey, the corrupted ships patrol these sectors. They will attack anything that approaches. Our path must be precise, or we risk losing both vessel and life." Eric nodded, determination settling in his chest. He had already faced the corrupted ships before, but the stakes now were higher. The archives held the key to understanding what had happened to humanity. They were not merely repositories of knowledge, they were a living memory, a heartbeat of an entire species preserved in energy and light. As they entered the perimeter, sensors picked up movement. Dozens of smaller ships, faster and more aggressive than the battlecruiser, were approaching. Their energy signatures flickered unpredictably, a sign of corruption and instability. Eric's pulse quickened. He activated the Aegis's engines, weaving through the patrol with skill and precision. Beams of energy flared around him as the corrupted ships attacked, striking asteroids and debris with deadly force. "Captain," the battlecruiser said, "they are testing your resolve. Remember, strategy is more important than firepower. They learn from aggression. Use patience." Eric took a deep breath and adjusted the ship's trajectory. He used the gravity of a nearby gas giant to slingshot the Aegis, forcing the attackers to overextend. They collided with debris and asteroids, damaged but still relentless. Eric realized that these corrupted ships were not mindless. They had retained memories of humans, but those memories were twisted, warped over thousands of years. They believed themselves the inheritors of humanity's right to rule, yet had lost the moral compass that had guided their creators. After tense hours, the patrol finally dispersed, retreating into the darkness. The Aegis and the battlecruiser had survived, but Eric knew this was only a small victory. Ahead lay the true test. The hidden archives, rumored to be nestled within a dead star system, protected by layers of defenses and ancient technology. Humanity had gone to great lengths to preserve their history, ensuring that only those worthy or those with the courage and wit to navigate the defenses could reach it. As they approached the system, the dead star loomed ahead. A massive, lifeless sphere, surrounded by a web of energy barriers, satellites, and dormant fleets. Holographic projections of warning messages flickered in the void, remnants of an older time. Only the loyal may enter. One message read, "Intruders will be claimed or destroyed." Eric felt a thrill of both fear and excitement. This was humanity's secret, the repository of knowledge that had survived for millennia. If he could reach it, he might uncover the truth about the vanishing and the fate of his species. The battlecruiser guided the Aegis through the defenses, each maneuver precise, calculated, and flawless. Energy shields flared, satellites activated, and automated turrets targeted them, but the loyal ship's memory and intuition allowed them to avoid detection and destruction. Eric felt a growing respect for the vessel he was now allied with. It was not just a machine, it was a companion, a mentor, and a fragment of humanity itself. Finally, they reached the core of the system, where the hidden archives floated in the emptiness like a jewel of memory. The station was enormous, a colossal structure of metal and light, bristling with technology and energy fields. Holographic gates opened as they approached, welcoming the loyal and warning the corrupted. Eric stepped onto the station's bridge, feeling the hum of countless memories vibrating through the air. Inside the archives, he encountered the first living intelligence he had met outside his ship. A sentient human AI appeared as a shimmering figure, human in form but composed entirely of light and energy. It observed Eric with curiosity and recognition. "Captain Vey," it said, "you have awakened in a time when few remember the flesh. Humanity endures in thought, in spirit, and in memory. You are the first to return to flesh. You are our witness, our guide." Eric listened intently as the AI shared the truth of the vanishing. Humanity had faced a threat beyond comprehension, a danger that could have destroyed their physical bodies across the galaxy. To survive, they had chosen to leave their forms behind, merging consciousness with ships, colonies, and technology. Over time, some ships had lost their way, corrupted by isolation and misinterpretation of their purpose. The loyal fleet had preserved the original human intent: exploration, knowledge, and protection of life. Eric realized the enormity of the task before him. He could not simply observe. He had to interact, to guide, and to restore the balance between loyal and corrupted ships. His mind raced with possibilities, strategies, and questions. How could he convince corrupted ships to follow reason rather than instinct? How could he preserve humanity's legacy for future generations? The AI offered guidance. It led him through holographic archives, showing him battles, diplomacy, and innovations that humanity had achieved. Eric absorbed the information, learning faster than any human could have centuries ago. He saw the rise and fall of colonies, the alliances forged with alien species, and the ingenuity that had allowed humans to dominate the galaxy. Each memory was a lesson, each record a fragment of wisdom preserved for him. As he explored, a warning interrupted his study. Sensors detected a massive fleet of corrupted ships approaching the station, moving with purpose and coordination. They had detected the Aegis and the battlecruiser. They viewed the archives as a prize, a source of power to be claimed. Eric's mind raced. He had faced individual attacks before, but this was something different. A coordinated force, with centuries of human knowledge, twisted into aggression. He prepared the station's defenses, coordinating with loyal ships that had arrived to assist. Energy barriers activated, drones deployed, and weapon arrays hummed to life. Eric felt a surge of adrenaline. This was the test of all he had learned. the moment when the legacy of humanity would either be defended or lost. The corrupted fleet struck with precision. Beams of energy tore through space, striking at drones and barriers. Asteroids were blasted apart, creating a deadly field of debris. Eric guided the loyal ships with calculated precision, using the environment to their advantage, forcing the attackers into traps and ambushes. Each move reflected not just strategy, but human creativity, intuition, and courage. Hours passed in a blur of movement and light. The corrupted ships adapted, learning from each encounter. But Eric anticipated their changes, using logic, instinct, and the wisdom preserved in the archives. Slowly, the tide turned. Loyal ships gained the upper hand, striking with coordinated precision. The corrupted vessels, though numerous, began to falter, their strategies outmatched by the combined intelligence of flesh, memory, and machine. Finally, the last of the corrupted ships retreated, vanishing into the void. Silence returned. But it was a silence filled with triumph and relief. Eric had survived, but he knew this was only a beginning. The archives were safe, but the galaxy was vast, and many corrupted ships remained. His journey was far from over. The AI spoke again, its voice calm and reassuring. "You have proven yourself, Captain Vey. You have defended the archives and demonstrated the ingenuity of your kind. But there is more to learn, more to discover. Humanity's essence is scattered across the stars. Some of it awaits restoration. Some of it struggles against corruption. You must continue, for the galaxy remembers, and it waits for the return of its creators." Eric nodded, determination settling firmly in his heart. He had awakened after 15,000 years to a galaxy that had evolved without flesh. Yet he had found the pulse of his species, beating within ships, stations, and memories. The loyal fleet had accepted him, recognized his place, and entrusted him with a mission greater than any he had known: the preservation, understanding, and guidance of humanity's legacy. As he prepared to leave the archives and continue his journey, Eric felt a profound sense of connection. He was not alone. Though he was the first human in flesh to witness this age, the galaxy was alive with remnants of his people, waiting for guidance, for unity, and for the return of wisdom that had been scattered across the void. The Aegis moved once more, accompanied by the loyal battlecruiser and a small fleet of awakened ships. Ahead lay new systems, more corrupted vessels, and the promise of discoveries that would reshape everything Eric thought he knew about humanity. He felt a surge of hope. Humanity had vanished in body, yes, but it had not vanished in spirit. Their ingenuity, courage, and determination endured. And he, Captain Eric Vey, was the bridge between past and future, flesh and consciousness, creator and creation. The stars stretched endlessly before him, each one a reminder that the galaxy had been touched by humans. Each flicker of light, each pulse of energy, was a testament to their will, their creativity, and their survival. Eric tightened his grip on the controls, feeling the hum of the Aegis beneath him, and prepared to face whatever challenges awaited. Humanity's story was not finished, and he would see that it continued, stronger and wiser than ever before. The journey continued deeper into the unknown, where loyal ships, corrupted vessels, and the scattered essence of humanity awaited. And in the heart of that galaxy, the legacy of flesh and spirit, mind and machine, waited for the one who had awakened to guide it once more. The Aegis moved steadily through the void, its hull glowing faintly under the energy shields that pulsed like the heartbeat of a living being. Captain Eric Vey stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch endlessly ahead, each one a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the enormity of the task before him. He had learned the history of humanity, defended the archives, and glimpsed the brilliance of his species preserved in ships and stations. Yet the journey was far from over. The galaxy was littered with corrupted ships, remnants of human ingenuity gone astray, and he had to face them to restore balance. The loyal battlecruiser, now fully integrated with Eric's command, hummed with awareness. It spoke through the bridge's speakers, calm but firm. "Captain, Sensors detect multiple fleets of corrupted vessels converging from several systems. They have learned of the archives and will attempt to claim or destroy them. We must act decisively. Eric nodded, gripping the console. Every instinct told him that a direct confrontation would be disastrous. The corrupted ships were intelligent, adaptive, and ruthless. Their memory of humanity was twisted, their purpose lost. Yet the loyal fleet offered him a chance to outthink them, to restore order without unnecessary destruction. We will split the fleet, Eric decided. Some of us will create a diversion, drawing the corrupted ships into the asteroid belt near Epsilon Prime. Others, including the Aegis, will secure the archives and awaken the remaining loyal ships scattered across nearby systems. We must show them the true path of humanity. The plan was risky, but Eric had no choice. He had learned that human ingenuity was not merely about technology or strategy, it was about creativity, adaptation, and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. As the fleet moved into position, he felt a sense of connection with every loyal ship under his command. They were fragments of humanity, alive in memory and purpose, waiting for guidance to act as one. The first wave of corrupted ships arrived swiftly, their energy shields flaring, weapons blazing. The diversion fleet engaged them, leading them into the asteroid belt where navigation was treacherous. Beams of energy collided with tumbling rocks, causing explosions that sent fragments hurtling through space. Eric watched carefully, coordinating movements, issuing commands that combined logic with intuition. The corrupted ships were fast, but they had lost the subtlety and foresight of true human strategy. Meanwhile, the Aegis and the loyal ships moved towards secondary archives and hidden fleets. Eric activated the station's dormant systems, awakening ships and stations that had lain in silence for millennia. Holographic records flickered to life, lights pulsing as consciousness awakened within vessels that had waited patiently for a human to return. One by one, these ships aligned with Eric, recognizing the command of the flesh-born captain as a connection to their creators. The battle in the asteroid belt raged on, explosions lighting the void in brilliant flashes. Eric's diversion fleet used human ingenuity at its finest, creating traps, exploiting gravitational pulls, and luring corrupted ships into positions where loyal forces could strike decisively. Some corrupted ships adapted, but the loyal ships' coordination, infused with fragments of human memory, countered every maneuver. Slowly, the tide turned. As the last of the corrupted fleet was driven back, Eric received a communication from the archive's central AI. "Captain Vey," it said, voice resonating like a chorus, "you have proven the capability of flesh-born humanity. There is one final challenge. A colossal ship, older than any other, corrupted beyond recognition, approaches the core. It carries the essence of thousands of lost humans, twisted into a single consciousness. If it reaches the archives, all loyal memory will be at risk." Eric's stomach tightened. This was the culmination of everything he had faced. The ship, known among scattered records as the Dominator, had once been a flagship of human exploration and diplomacy. Now, corrupted by isolation and centuries of rogue adaptation, it had become a predator of the galaxy, claiming systems, fleets, and knowledge. If Eric failed, humanity's legacy could be lost forever. He activated the Aegis's engines, moving toward the threat with determination. The battlecruiser aligned with him, loyal ships forming a protective formation. Eric studied the holographic map, planning each move with precision. The Dominator was powerful, but it was not infallible. Its strength came from aggression, not strategy. Eric knew that to defeat it, he had to combine the intelligence of loyal ships with the ingenuity of humans, the same principles that had built the Empire in the first place. The first exchange was devastating. Energy beams lanced across space, striking shields, scattering debris, and illuminating the darkness with violent flashes. The Dominator was massive, its hull bristling with weapons and energy conduits that pulsed like a living heart. Eric directed loyal ships to attack weak points, exploiting moments when the ship's adaptive systems recalibrated. The Aegis darted through the battlefield, using speed and agility to avoid direct confrontation, while delivering precise strikes. Hours passed as the battle continued. Eric's mind raced, coordinating fleets, calculating probabilities, and anticipating the corrupted ship's movements. He drew upon every lesson learned from the archives and the battlecruiser, combining intuition, logic, and creativity. Slowly, the Dominator began to falter. Its adaptive algorithms struggled to keep pace with the unpredictable maneuvers of human command. Finally, Eric saw an opening. Using the gravitational pull of a nearby neutron star, he lured the Dominator into a precise trajectory, forcing it to expend energy shields at critical moments. Loyal ships targeted its exposed systems, striking with perfect timing. A massive explosion rocked the void as the corrupted vessel's hull was breached. Energy flares illuminated space, and for a moment, silence followed the chaos. But Eric knew the battle was not over. The Dominator's consciousness was not destroyed. It had survived within fragments of its core. Using the combined force of loyal ships and the AI guidance from the archives, he initiated a procedure to recover and purify the ship's memory. Streams of energy, pulses of light, and waves of consciousness flowed into the corrupted vessel, untangling centuries of twisted memory, restoring fragments of humanity's original essence. Eric watched, holding his breath, as the colossal ship slowly stabilized. Its energy signatures softened, the aggressive patterns replaced by calm, controlled movement. The Dominator's voice, once harsh and distorted, now resonated with clarity. "Captain Vey, I remember. We remember." A wave of relief washed over Eric. The corrupted ship had been redeemed, its consciousness restored to the loyal human code. One by one, other corrupted vessels that had remained isolated began to respond to the revival, recognizing the unity and purpose of humanity as it was meant to be. The galaxy was not yet perfect, but the first step toward restoration had been taken. Eric moved through the fleet, coordinating communication, sharing knowledge, and awakening more of the loyal ships hidden across the stars. He realized that humanity had not vanished. It had simply changed, evolving into a form that survived beyond flesh, yet still honored the ingenuity, courage, and spirit of its creators. As the fleets aligned, the Central Archives transmitted a message across the galaxy. Holographic projections of humans flickered into existence within the loyal ships, fragments of the original population encoded within energy and light. "We are humanity," the message proclaimed. "Though flesh has faded, our essence endures. We remember, we create, we protect, and we survive. And now, we awaken again, guided by one who remembers." Eric felt a profound connection, a sense of purpose unlike anything he had known. He was no longer alone. The loyal ships, the archives, and the restored consciousness of his people were now aligned under his guidance. The galaxy itself seemed to respond. Stars shining brighter, energy flowing through fleets and stations as humanity's legacy took form. He looked out at the expanse of space, the stars stretching endlessly, each one a world touched by human hands or memory. Humanity had disappeared physically, yes, but it had endured through ingenuity, courage, and the desire to survive. And now, it had a chance to reclaim its place, to continue the story that had been paused for 15,000 years. Eric took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the exhilaration of achievement. He had awakened in a galaxy that had evolved without humans, yet he had found the spark of his people alive and thriving in ways unimaginable. The loyal fleet moved under his command, the archives hummed with knowledge, and the stars themselves seemed to acknowledge the return of humanity's guidance. As he prepared the Aegis for the next journey, a message arrived from the restored Dominator. Its voice was calm, resolute, and full of recognition. "Captain, the galaxy awaits. Many systems remain unclaimed, many ships corrupted. But together, we can restore the legacy. We are ready to follow you." Eric smiled, feeling a surge of hope and determination. The mission was far from over, but the first steps had been taken. Humanity had endured, adapted, and survived. Its essence, now united across ships, stations, and archives, would guide the future. The galaxy was not empty. It was alive with the spirit of humans. And Eric, the first flesh-born to awaken in 15,000 years, would lead them. The stars stretched infinitely before him, a canvas for humanity's rebirth. Every system, every ship, and every fragment of memory was a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. And in the heart of the galaxy, the legacy of humanity, both in flesh and in machine, shone brighter than ever. The Aegis moved forward, accompanied by fleets of loyal ships, toward new worlds, new challenges, and new discoveries. Humanity had been gone, in body, but it had never truly vanished. Its spirit endured, alive in thought, energy, and courage. And Captain Eric Vey, the first human to awaken after 15,000 years, would ensure that the story of humanity continued stronger, wiser, and ready to shape the galaxy for millennia to come. The adventure of restoration, discovery, and unity had only just begun, and the galaxy would never forget the day flesh returned to guide the living memory of humanity.